What's going on, everyone? It's John and it's Mike back again. It's we've had some comments about people saying they've missed us, and I released a video on Saturday, guys. We did record one on Friday, but StreamYard went down, so that video ended up lasting 2 hours 20 minutes, and I couldn't even download it anyway. So that was a waste of time.
So we're taking StreamYard to court.
So we're taking StreamYard to court. No, but all jokes aside, guys, look, we have tried, and we just haven't been able to. So, yeah, we are back tonight, and there's not loads of news flying around, John. You know, the transfer window, I think, is back open again, but I still don't think Everton are going to be doing much business until the 1st of July, personally. What's your feelings for the next couple of weeks? What do you think is going to be happening in the background?
I think, we spoke quite openly on here that Everton are still a few restrictions. Listen, they're not massive restrictions that Everton are under with PSR still, but we have got to be careful till the 30th of June. Come the 1st of July, I think you're going to start to see things moving. I think it's a week Wednesday. The players are back in training, pre-season training. I think we play Blackburn 3 weeks Saturday. I think we play Accrington Stanley 3 weeks tomorrow. So the players are going to be back in training 2 weeks before we have our first pre-season fixture. Things will start moving from the 1st of July. Listen, all the rumours that are flying around about Barry. We've been linked with a left back from Lyon today who's a free transfer. Richie's again being linked with us yesterday to come back. Things will start moving. I'm not saying they're the players we're going to get, but I think from the 1st of July, you've just alluded to it. We've hit on it many times on here. From the 1st of July, it's sort of like for me, who's self-employed, April's the beginning of the tax year for me. So with the likes of football, the 1st of July is sort of like the new football year. So any players that Everton do bring in from the 1st of July do go on to next year's football year figures. So I think that's what Everton are waiting for. We can't go and spunk loads of money yet. We were very, very quiet in the first transfer window that opened. I think that was made more for the Club World Cup. And we did allude to that on here as well. So it is quiet, and the links have died. And it's all well and good being linked with these players, the likes of Barry, the likes of Richie coming back. But we can't do anything till the 1st of July. I've got a feeling, because we've had a transfer window already. I think with the window opening today, there's so many teams that are still hampered a bit by the likes of PSR. Looks like Aston Villa have got to sell someone. Newcastle have got to be careful. So I think everyone who's in that situation will be waiting until the 1st of July.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we're being linked with free transfers, players out of contract, and you can kind of see those sort of signings maybe happening prior to the 1st of July, because there's no initial cost. There is wage, but I think the wages coming off the book now benefit Everton from the 30th of June. So you kind of, I suspect they would want to get them off the books first, but I don't know. We've been linked, as you rightly say, we've been linked with Tagliafico, I think his name is, Leon, left back. I don't know a lot about him, if I'm being honest. We've been linked with a couple of free agent left and right backs. Soufal was in there as well. We've also been linked with Kyle Walker today. So, I find some of these rumours a little bit silly at times. But if we're going to sign free transfers, they're the ones that I think might happen prior to July. And then I think it would be the outlay in July. There was a come and get me statement by Villarreal, basically, for Barry. And I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Are they trying to keep his price high to sell him? Are they not happy with him? Do they want someone else? I mean, I don't know. It's when any club goes, come and get me, rather than we want to desperately hold on to this player, that always concerns me a little bit. So I'm on the fence about Barry all of a sudden.
Well, I think because it's a few clubs being linked with him, they could be putting that shout out open that there's an auction. So the more money they get for him. And the links to Barry have become quite strong, and Everton apparently put a €30 million bid in for him or whatever it was. But the links to Waltmead have gone quiet, and he's been linked with other Premier League clubs now as well. Barry come off the bench the other night for France under-21s. He actually scored in injury time, and it was ruled out. And then I think he scored a 98-minute winner for the French under-21s. YouTube took off with all Everton fans watching that. But you mentioned the link there, Kyle Walker, free transfer. You mentioned the link, the Leon fullback, and we've spoke openly on here. I think the fullback positions and any defensive positions that Everton do need to strengthen in, I actually think that's where Everton will use their quota of loan deals, because we're quite strong across the back. Our back line, our preferred back line, our starting back line, Jake O'Brien, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mikalenko, obviously Pickford in goal. It was quite strong, and you said on here a couple of times how many clean sheets we kept last season. We had one of the best defensive records in the Premier League last season. So I just think I don't see Everton spending money or big money in them positions when it is as strong as what it is. We do need backup. We need a left back backup. We need a right back backup. I think that's where Everton used their quota of loan deals. The Kyle Walker links, I just don't see Kyle Walker coming to Everton. I don't want Kyle Walker at Everton. I think he's a has-been. I think he's done what he's done. I don't think he gets in the team over Jake O'Brien, put it that way. So I just think it'd be a waste. I just think it'd be a waste of a position filled. I think it'd be a waste of wages to bring someone in like Kyle Walker, who was out on loan last season. Can't remember the team he went to. They haven't took up the option to sign him on a free transfer. So obviously he's looking for a club now. His agent will be working overtime now, throwing his name around, putting his name in so many hats. Everton's probably one of them, to try and get him a club for next season. I just don't see Kyle Walker coming to Everton.
No, I think you're right, and I think the other thing is, I wouldn't want him. No, I wouldn't want him. There's no doubt he's got great Premier League experience and all of those things, but I think we really need to be sensible with these players that we're signing. We've had the Rooneys, we've had the Samuel Eto'os, we've had the players that have been towards the end of their years in football. And I'm not saying they've ever done anything wrong for us. Samuel Eto'o was decent when he was there. He nurtured Lukaku. You've got players like, who was the other lad I just mentioned? Oh my God! What?
Kyle Walker?
No! Oh my God! Samuel Eto'o. Who was the other person I just mentioned? No. Oh my God!
You're fucking losing it, you mate.
Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney was the top goal scorer in the season that he was at Everton. So, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. But I think the ideology of the Three King Group, and I mentioned this in the video I did on Saturday, is youth, is to move forward with youth, is to either get players that are going to be with Everton for a long time and push us on to winning the title and Champions League football and all of those really positive ambitions, or they're going to be players that create a sell-on value, which help us towards PSR and things. So I think, for me, at this moment in time, I just don't see Everton signing players like Kyle Walker on massive wages. Could I see Kufal? Could I see the lad from Leon? Yeah, because I don't think they're going to be a huge signing on fee, and I don't think they're going to be huge weekly salaries. Yeah, I could see Everton signing them and maybe using those loan players that you mentioned, maybe for extra loans in January if we get injured or whatever. I don't know. So that's what I think. I also think the interesting thing, and again, I mentioned this on Saturday, is the way that Moyes is going to play and the way that the recruitment team is going to supplement how Moyes plays. And again, I think that's interesting with some of the players we've been linked with. We've been linked with Grealish, for example. We've gone on about Grealish for ages, but it's very much a case of signing Grealish to put him in a 10 to leave Ndiaye on the left. Okay, so that's fine. So then who is playing on that right-hand side of that pitch? Because you need to address that. Are we getting another striker? Are you going to look at, occasionally playing 4-4-2 or whatever formation you're going to play? Do we then need another central midfielder? Because, the Idrissa Gana guy is fine, but is James Garner fine? Are you going to trust Tim? Where? And these are the things with these player links for me. I look at the whole situation at Everton, and I just think we have to get it right. We have to get the strategy right. I'm not saying the recruitment has to be perfect this season. If we go into September the 1st or whenever the window shuts and we go, it was a 6 out of 10 window. I kind of think that's what we need to expect, because we can't go and sign 12, 13, 14 players. I heard a podcast earlier telling me we need 10 players. I don't think Everton are going to sign 10 players. And I just, I love to be proved wrong, but I can't see it. I can't see Everton signing 10 players. I see more like 6 or 7.
We need 10 players, but Everton won't sign 10 players in one window. And I think, you mentioned the centre forward position, you mentioned the right wing position. I think that's where Everton spend the majority of the money we've got to spend this transfer window. I actually think we spend money on a centre forward, possibly 2. And I think we have to spend money on a right winger as well. You mentioned Souček, we've been linked with him from West Ham, won't be on massive wages. It's all right. We keep speaking about, you said before, about the freaking want to go with youth and they want players to have a sell-on fee. You've also got to keep that experience as well. You can't just start bringing young players in all the positions. You still need to keep some experience. I'm hoping Idrissa Gana guy signs this contract. Obviously, got picked for Tarkowski. I'd say Brantwaite's got a bit more of experience now as well. So that's the spine of your team. You've got Ndiaye there. James Garner's not getting any younger. I just think Everton spend more money on attacking players than what we do on defensive players. And this is why I think that's where Everton's loan quota goes. I really do. You mentioned about we could be weak in midfield. We've spoke about this player on here a few times as well. Unfortunately, got injured when he was at Everton. I think if Mangala can prove his fitness, I think that's an avenue that Everton might look at as another loan option just to see how he is. Again, another player who's not going to be on massive wages. And, you've spoken highly of Mangala on here from what we've seen of him. Can we rely on the likes of Tim next season going forward to cement that place in the midfield and do the job of what Mangala done, or even what Doucouré done every now and again? For me, Tim's got to play more often next season to prove to us that that's his spot, and it's he wants to cement that spot. Don't think we've seen it consistently from Tim. He had injuries, we know that. I think it's a massive, massive pre-season for Tim Ibrahima at Everton Football Club.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. I completely agree, and I think it's really going to be interesting to see how they develop. Tim, and the other person that we haven't mentioned is Harrison Armstrong, who, again, look, I don't think he plays loads and loads and loads this season, but I also probably don't think he goes out on loan until at least January. I think Moyes gives him a chance to break into this team or to play some minutes or to come on as a sub. I think Moyes does give him those chances, so it'll be interesting to see how that works.
Just before you move on to anything else, while we're talking about players who are going to be given a chance, there's been a few links for Chimiti getting loaned out. Again, I'll reiterate what I said a couple of minutes ago. This is a massive pre-season for a lot of these players at Everton Football Club to prove to David Moyes that they need to be starting games, to be in and around the first team. We didn't see enough of Harrison Armstrong, in my opinion. We didn't see enough of Chimiti. From what we see with Moyes and Chimiti, I don't know whether he really rates him, and I don't think he fancies him that much, and we've said that on here. So for me, pre-season, Chimiti's got a lot to prove to David Moyes to stop himself getting loaned out. Do you see, if Everton bring 2 strikers in and Calvert-Lewin goes, Do you see Chimiti going out on loan?
I do think Chimiti will go on loan. I do. I don't think Moyes fancies him, and I don't get why. Because I must say, every time I saw him, even very briefly at times last season, pre-season, even before last season, I thought there was a player there. You know, there's a player who's direct, who's quick, who's strong. Yes, he's raw. Yes, he's young. But there's definitely a player there. So I haven't quite understood the why he didn't get any minutes towards the end of the season. You know, especially when we were safe, I didn't understand that. But look, we are where we are with Chimiti. If Chimiti goes out on loan, there's Amari Benjamin in the younger team as well, in the under-23s. There's other strikers that have, you know, pulled up trees and caused problems. We've had that. You know, they might not have been Premier League quality in the end, but we had Tom Cannon, we had Ellie Sims, who have both gone on to become decent Championship strikers, and I suspect at some point they will be Premier League strikers. So just by loaning out Chimiti, I don't think we've got other options. I think we will have other options. I don't see how it's a negative for like Amari Benjamin or some of the others. I think it's more of a positive to give them more exposure as well. And you know, if Beto gets injured, if whoever the new striker is gets injured, then hopefully they do get some minutes or they get the opportunity on the bench. I never think that's a problem. It would just be a shame for Chimiti because he would obviously hope it's him. But I just don't get the impression that Moyes fancies him.
Yeah, I actually think David Moyes has made his mind up on Chimiti. I don't think whatever Chimiti does in pre-season, I think he will go out on loan.
Right, let's talk about Everton, as in the club, as in some of the things that come out today. Now, what I'm about to say probably will piss a few people off, and it's not meant to, okay, but it probably will. But I get this whole unique view thing. I get it. You know, Everton have got to move forward, and that means that there needs to be more corporate seating. That means there needs to be more paying match day tickets. And that's what these are, is my understanding. It's going to be 19 fixtures between £250 up to £600, I think, a seat. And you get the hospitality experience with nice seats, a screen in front of you, and a weird view of the game. I'm not a big fan of it, but I get why we're doing it. Now, if I don't know how many of these seats are available, and we've all had the emails today asking if we're interested to put your name forward, and I have put my name forward because maybe on my birthday I might want to sit in a nicer seat and have a few beers and whatever. But I genuinely think that this is the strongest showing that Everton is no longer the fans' club.
Well, listen, we're going to turn into the prawn sandwich brigade, aren't we, if you're going down that route? Yes, I get it. Everton have fell behind in so many ways compared to so many clubs years gone by. Little things like shirt sales. Some clubs have had theirs out for a month, 6 weeks. You know, and Everton have introduced these comfier seats that apparently are like cinema seats and you can lay back and stuff. For me, it's not for me. You know, you've seen what I'm like at the match. I love it. I'm up, I'm down. They wouldn't allow me in one of them seats, to be fair, which I'm not too fussed about. But I can see why someone who can afford it and who wants to treat themselves and to experience it. For me, I'll be happy in the South Stand for 19 games. It doesn't bother me. But it worries me. It worries me. Now, they're doing it for money. The Freakins have come in. They've thrown a lot of money. Apparently, they threw another 6 figures at it in December because there was things they didn't like with 7 figures. But it brings me on to the Roma fixture as well now, because some of the prices of them tickets for the friendlies, I think, are quite high. And I can't remember tickets for a friendly match being that high at Goodison. Yes, they want their money back. Yes, they're going to run Everton like a business. yes, they're treating Everton like a business, and we've called out for that. We've screamed from the rooftops that Everton need to become a business. Whether you like it or not, the Freakins are going to run Everton like a business. Everton's going to be run like a proper business, like a proper football club, but it's going to cost the fans and it's going to hurt the fans in the pocket. And when you look at the season ticket prices, for example, I paid $7.60 for mine in the South Stand. I imagine the second season, that's probably going to go up to about 850, 880 quid. I think the second season at Bramley Moor is when you're going to see a massive hike in season ticket prices. They've come in, you know, softly, and they haven't gone, right, it's 900 quid for the shittest seats in the house. I just think eventually going forward to make their money back, this is the route the Freakins are going to go down, and it's going to piss a lot of Everton fans off, because if we're being successful and we're challenging for things and we're watching better football matches for 19 games of the season at the new ground, then it'll sort of, the costs will sort of be put on the back burner. I don't think we will, but if we have to endure what we've had to put up with for the past few years and the hit fans in the pocket like they are, I think you're going to get a lot of disgruntled Everton fans.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing for me. So I get it, and it is a fine balance. Now, we played, as you know, John, we played literally exactly the same pre-season game last season at Goodison Park. And while you were just talking, I was trying to find my order confirmation for my ticket, because I wanted to see how much I paid last season, and I found my ticket. So Finley's ticket was £10 and mine was 25. The price is the same if you've got a season ticket. No. If you've got a season ticket, it's the same. It's a £5 more if you haven't got a season ticket. But then, of course, you have to pay for your membership on top of that. And some memberships are now £60 rather than, I think, 30. I think the most was, or 35, whatever the most was last season. So there's been an increase in memberships. There's roughly a £5 increase on probably 10,000 tickets in that stadium. Loads of season ticket holders, I suspect, will go to the first pre-season game at the new stadium. I suspect it'll be a sellout. But I think the facts are, I don't necessarily feel like the pricing is wrong as long as it stays consistent. Because what you've just said, you are absolutely spot on with. You've just said, I expect my season ticket to go up next season, but the increase you put on your season ticket was astronomical in terms of percentage. It was about, I think you went up to 850 there, was it? Was 800, 850?
I'm paying 760 now. I don't think it's going to be over 800 quid. I reckon you're looking at 830, between 830 and 850 next season. I think they're putting at least 90 quid on my season ticket.
Yeah, and that is fundamentally, rough maths, 10 to 12% increase. Now, we know that wages and things don't go up by that much. We know that players' wages and salaries do, but we know Everton aren't in a bad situation. We know Everton are going forward. We know they've finished higher in the league. I almost want it that every season the Freakins are here. I get they need to make money, and I get they want to run Everton properly, and I get that they want to generate more income from this new stadium. I'm expecting more events at this new stadium. I'm expecting more tours, more concerts, more. I'm expecting some American football there as well. As much as people will hate me saying that, I'm expecting that. We've already got the rugby there, for example. Again, nothing. I'm not against that at all, by the way. So I'm expecting lots of other things to generate income from that stadium. The point I'm making is, I just don't want them to nail us when they know we're invested in the project. Do you get what I mean? Don't take our kindness and our love for Everton and use it against us. That's what I don't want. I get, there's a line. You happily pay a bit extra every season if you're seeing that little bit extra every season. Of course, look, I'm just worried.
But it's like anything, it will go up. It's not going to go down. The price will go up. And as I said before, a lot of Everton fans won't be asked if there's a price increase if what we're watching warrants it. And this is the thing. We've got to see progress on the pitch. We've got to see progress how Everton are run. And yeah, I can sit here now and say the freakins aren't Everton fans. They're not asked. They're not bothered who they support. They're not bothered about me and you, and they will say they will, and they'll say, and listen, I'm not having a pop. What sounds like I'm having a pop the freakins. I think the freakins are one of the best things that's happened to Everton for years and years and years, because they're saying the right things, but they've got to put it into action. It's all right bringing all these new people in and bringing new CEOs in and getting two fellas from Leeds and bringing, the recruitment fella and the top scout from Man City. It's all right bringing these people in because they're not going to come cheap. But I just don't want them to have made the season tickets this season, acceptable prices, because that's what they are. So many people on social media, so many people on X were putting on, I thought the season tickets would have been more than that. The freakins have done well with the price and range of the season tickets, blah, 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 blah. I just think the second season, you are going to see a bigger increase than what people are expecting. Now, maybe they should have come in to wear my season ticket $760 now, possibly $790 and then up to $850. It doesn't look so bad then, but when you're going, as you said, 10, 12%, it starts to turn. I'm going to get shot down for this video, I know I am, but I just don't want them to become greedy, because
that's the point.
But it is the point, and I've got to word this right because I don't want to dig a hole for myself. I won't be asked my season ticket going from $760 to $830, $840 the second season. If we're getting to a semi-final, if we're getting to Wembley, if we're challenging the European places, every Everton fan won't be asked if there's an increase in season tickets the second season, as long as the ticket price that goes up warrants what we're watching on the pitch. Now, if we have a shit season this season, I don't expect us to. I expect us to massively improve. But if we do, and they still bump the season tickets up by 10 or 12%, then you're going to have a lot of people who are going to become unhappy with the freakins. And I don't want that to happen, because they rescued this football club from the likes of Farhad Moshiri. We needed someone like the freakins. How lucky are we that 777 didn't get in? Because I'm telling you now, if 777 got into this football club, there'd be no more positive videos on this channel from me, because they would have drained the club. They would have finished Everton Football Club. So we've got the freakins a lot to thank for, but they've also got to do it right. They've got to do it right for the fans. And I said before, they're not bothered about the fans. No, they're not Everton fans. They just want they want a return on what they've invested. And obviously, they see Everton with a brand new stadium, a Premier League club. We've got a good manager in now. They're prepared to spend the money. They've sorted a lot of the PSR restrictions that we had. They've cleared a lot of the debts. Yes, that's all well and good. But when you start hitting fans with massive ticket price increase of 10 and 12%, you need to see progression on the pitch. And if that happens, then it'll sort of be by the by with the fans. We'll accept it to a certain extent. But if we don't progress and they're banging that 10 and 12% on, I think people will start questioning
it. I just think it's interesting, when in a week where Manchester City, for example, are cutting home ticket prices. Now, look, with Manchester City, I actually semi-get it. They don't sell out anyway, so they're going to have to sell their tickets cheaper. I get it. Like, I understand that. So,
championship prices, because that's where they probably should be going.
Yeah, well, they won't be, will they? That's the problem with this. They won't be.
Don't start me on that. Don't start me on that.
They're going to get away with it. So, look, Yeah, I just think it's a talking point. I'm not overly upset about the prices. When you look at the Roma tickets, it's actually the juniors that have gone up rather than the adults. To be fair, the juniors, as I said, Finley's ticket I think was a tenner last season, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's more this season. Let me just double check that Roma ticket price. Well, actually, no. I mean, if you're a season ticket holder, Forever Blue member, if it's exactly the same price as last year. So it's the general sale. It's the general sale where there's that increase, and it's also the general sale fans that are going to get whacked for the additional prices per game. The unique view seats, they're the ones that are going to get spanked for the essentially the extra money, because you're right, the season ticket prices this season compared to Goodison haven't massively gone up by all accounts, but next season could be very, very interesting. So look, I'll leave it there. I've got nothing else to add. I think it's a very interesting debate about the future of Everton commercially, but irrespective of anything, it's an easier pill to swallow if it's coming from a doctor that's winning the league.
That's it. If you see success and you see progression, you sort of take the price increase, don't you? But that's what we need to see, And you say about the season, the tickets for the Roma game roughly stayed the same. We are going to have another 13, 14,000 in the ground, so they still are making money, but they've put a lot of money in, haven't they? They've cleared a lot of debt, so they need to put their money where their mouth is now. And as I said, they've been a saviour for Everton Football Club from when they've come in. But we need to see progression on the pitch, and that's all we want as Everton fans. That's all we want, and I think we will see it. I do think brought the right people in. I think they're saying the right things. I think David Moyes is saying the right things. I think the spine of the team, apart from up front, is quite strong. So we can be positive going into pre-season. Mentioned before, defensively we were solid. We've got Ndai. Ghana guy's going to stay for another season. We're linked with better players, and we said this the other week. It's good to be linked with the players that we're being linked with, and there's no way on God's given earth if Farhad Moshiri was still in charge of Everton Football Club and we still restricted by what he restricted us with, we wouldn't be linked with a better quality of player like we are. So it is, even though I sort of put a dampener on before, which was the prices. I watched Michael's video on Saturday and it was very positive. So I reiterate what Michael said. I think going forward, we can be positive for our football club.
Yeah, spot on. Lovely summary to end the video. Guys, look, we will leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. We are back. I was away for the weekend. As you all know, I was in a tent, pissing down of rain with no signal. So it was tremendous stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Hopefully we'll have some news for you tomorrow with some more links and progression. But as I say, I think it will be quiet till at least the first week in July, to be fair. But we will be back. Michael is back. I'm glad I was in a nice warm bed, staying dry and sleeping in a tent. I couldn't think of anything worse.
It wasn't great. Cool. Well, up the toffees, keep smiling, and peace.